Friday Food File podcast. It's your contrarian agrarians, Sue Belcom
and Annie Carlson.
And we're going to talk once again about another one of our favorite recipes that you could probably try this weekend.
This week, we are talking roasted tomato sauce.
I know I'm supposed to ask you what the big deal is about this tomato sauce, but I already know because I absolutely love roasted tomatoes. So tell me about them.
This recipe is an easy and delicious way to preserve tomatoes and other garden produce, and a way to kind of stick some hidden veggies into a tomato sauce.
You're kidding. You mean we're talking about more than just tomatoes here?
Oh, absolutely. You can stick in all sorts of vegetables and then blend it into your roasted tomato sauce.
Oh man, it sounds so good. My stomach's growling. So, can I mess this recipe up?
I don't think you can. So you're just going to roast tomatoes and other veggies and then put them in a blender and make this absolutely amazing sauce.
I know that we've talked about this before, but I love roasting things. I think baking is okay and sauteing is okay, but there's something about the word roast that just makes me salivate.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us how you would make a roasted tomato.
So what you're going to do is take about 3 pounds of tomatoes, which I have found that this basically covers a cookie sheet, like a 15 by 17 cookie sheet. Cover a 15 by 17 cookie sheet with tomatoes. You're going to core your tomatoes and have them really easy. So you can mow through a pile of tomatoes pretty quick.
You don't have to peel them first?
No, you're going to peel them after.
Can you use any kind of tomatoes?
Any kind of tomato.
Sweet.
If you use cherry tomatoes, you don't even have to peel them afterwards.
You know what? And I've learned that this summer, and we're going to talk about that in another recipe. Oh, yummy, yummy. Okay, so you've got tomatoes, you've got them cut and cored, and you're putting them in a pan. Continue.
Right, so you're laying them face down on the pan, the cut side down on the pan. So basically, your pan is going to look like a lot of red bumps. Or yellow bumps or orange bumps.
Right on, depends on your tomatoes.
And here's where the magic starts to happen. So you're going to take an onion, you're going to cut it into 1/4-inch slices or so, and just lay those out on the pan. You're going to take some garlic, and the recipe that's going to be in the show notes says 4 cloves of garlic. I automatically double that because I don't think you can ever have too much garlic.
I don't think you can either.
So I use at least 8 cloves of garlic per pan. And then I use carrots. So chop up carrots into like 1/4-inch coins, like thick coins. And then you can also add in other vegetables. So you could roast a few beets. You could put in some zucchini. So you can tuck a lot of hidden vegetables into your recipe.
Do you have one of those, what are those slicer things called that I found?
A mandolin?
Yes, I've been trying to think of that word now for 2 days because I think that if you don't have a mandolin in your kitchen, you need one because they make uniform slices, and I love my mandolin. And I know you found one at a thrift store, right?
Yep.
And I got mine on sale at some place, but I love my mandolin for slicing carrots and zucchini and onions so that you get that nice even slice. So then, okay, we've got everything in the pan, and you set it in an oven, and you bake it at what temperature?
So you're going to bake at 425 for an hour.
Okay.
So,
and then what do you do?
Well, I forgot to tell you about the seasonings.
Oh my gosh,
So,
you can't do it without seasoning.
You've got your tomatoes, you've got all your vegetables, your onions, garlic, carrots, zucchini, whatever else you want to stick in there to kind of trick your family if you're trying to get more vegetables into them. Then you want to sprinkle some salt. I use a coarse sea salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. And again, I don't hold back on either one of those. And then you want to take about a teaspoon of thyme, dried thyme, and sprinkle it over the top as well. Then you want to just drizzle about 2 tablespoons of olive oil over the whole thing.
Is there any special kind of olive oil that you prefer? I know there's different varieties like virgin and extra virgin and not virgin at all. Naughty olive oil.
The trampy olive oil.
Trampy, I love it. I don't know trampy olive oil.
I buy the best olive oil I can afford.
And it's not inexpensive, but it's really so much better for you, don't you think?
Absolutely.
And then how about if you had some garden basil or something? Would you use something you had a fresh herb for this
I would use fresh thyme or fresh rosemary. I would not use fresh basil because an hour in a 425 oven would basically just disintegrate your basil. I would add it fresh when I'm blending it at the end.
Oh, okay.
So when you're going to bake it for an hour, and I do 2 pans in my oven at a time, and I rotate them at 30 minutes, move the top rack to the bottom and the bottom to the top. Otherwise, that top rack is going to get really caramelized, and the bottom won't be caramelized.
But that caramelization is something that happens with the sugar in tomatoes, right?
Yes.
And it makes it.
So delicious.
That's what I'm thinking too, but I can't remember what it's like the sugars in the tomatoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That caramelize and kind of give it that extra rich flavor.
Yes.
And I do mean rich.
Oh, yes. So when you're done, you're going to bring it out and you're just going to let it set on your counter until it's cool enough to handle. And then you're just going to pinch those skins of those larger tomatoes. Like I said, with cherry tomatoes, you won't have to do that. The skins are so soft, I mean, they'll just disintegrate anyway. But in those other types of tomatoes, those bigger tomatoes, you're just going to pull the skin off and it just slips right off. I mean, you'll just pinch it between your finger and the whole thing will peel up from the meat of the
Do you do
tomato.
this when they're hot out of the oven?
Nope, when they're cool enough to handle.
Okay. We don't want you burning your little fingers out there. You know, seasoned cooks don't have any feelings in their fingertips because we do stupid things like try to pull tomato peelings off when they're still at 350 degrees.
Right. So the night that I did my first batch, I roasted the tomatoes right before I went to bed for that last hour, and then I just turned my oven off and went to bed and let them just cool down in the oven.
Okay.
Took them out the next morning, pulled the skins off, and away I went.
Good, so you can do it when they're actually at room temperature and they
yeah.
still come off, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that's one of life's little secrets is an easy way to peel tomatoes, right?
Then you're going to put them in a blender or food processor and whir it until it's your consistency. So some people want chunky, other people want a smooth sauce. So just whir it in your blender or food processor until it's the way you want it, and then put it into a Ziploc freezer bag and throw it in your freezer.
Sweet, you can freeze it, and then how do you use it once it's frozen?
Oh, it makes a great base for tomato soup. It makes a great light lunch, toss with some pasta, add some herbs. It's going to be awesome.
Boy, it sounds really good. And you know, folks, if you want to try roasted tomato sauce, you can find the entire recipe on our show notes on our website, which is farms, F-A-R-R-M-S, news.com. So, we'll be back next Friday with another installment of the Farms Friday Food File podcast, helping you cook good food over the weekend.
Until then, get cooking.
Bye now.